and doing my hobby and some work. And I didn't necessarily know if I could go into a 9 to 5 job, or like what I was good enough at to take on other work besides taking care of somebody. And so I said, you do this, you like it, you know how it works, try this. You know how to build a business plan. So I looked for somebody who would be a good match for me as a partner, who had skills that I didn't necessarily have. That's the other thing, we both bring something different to the table. I have a huge catalog of contacts. She has a background in building in like in shop settings, so like for theater or for large scale productions, and we both know how to build for ease of wear, I guess is the best way to do it. Like with cosplay, sometimes building, or like costuming in general, sometimes just building something to look exactly like the thing means that you don't necessarily build it like a garment, like a shirt, or like a pair of pants. You have to adjust it. You have to, do different binding or different techniques to make it something that you can wear. Like I do a lot of armor that's fabric based as opposed to made out of like Worbla or plastics. And I do it that way because a lot of the costumes that I work with and a lot of the clients that I work with personally have me in that costume for 4 to 6 hours. So I have to be able to wear it for 4 to 6 hours without actually dying. I mean, we're all sort of dead inside, but you don't have to be that way on the outside too. So we do a lot of lighter costume pieces, and a lot of we use a lot of like different fabrics that sort of have a metallic look or have an armored look or have a hammered look. And again, we do a lot of painting. The jacquard paints are fantastic because once you hit them with a little bit of heat, they set and they never go anywhere and they're washable. Teflon foot, Teflon feet are really fantastic, and you can actually get them as like covers for your irons, which means that you can iron onto pleathers and plastics without melting directly onto the front of your iron. If they don't always fit every machine or every iron. And we also use sort of an industrial steam iron, which is like the big rig and very powerful, and it has like a IV hook, and you put this giant tank of water. They tend to be between like $200 to $400, and I highly recommend them. I recommend them more than most machines. They're fantastic. Because they're durable, they last forever if you maintain them properly, and they get those Teflon feet. And having something where I can press out like different polys and not melt them is fantastic. So I will fit weight in. Yes. Jacquard. Jacquard paint. Sorry. Yeah. Car paint's great on props if you know how to use car paint. It's a very specialized type of thing. You usually need a special airbrush for it. Don't just paint on 2 pieces of paint. Yeah. But Jacquard, Jacquard. Jacquard Products. That's the parent company. They're absolutely fantastic. And so a lot of the again, if you looked at our portfolio, the jacket for Yondu, both the overcoat and the under jacket, those are all started a completely different colors than what they are. So like the under jacket started black and it's purple, and the overcoat started just a dingy brown and it's sort of a russet red now. And the same with Mantis. Mantis, we have to painted the whole costume except for the black. So yeah, we use a lot of different and unique things. But again, it also comes from being a cosplayer. I think having that as a base is also really like useful because you tend to think differently than just how am I going to build this garment. You know, you think about it as like, how am I gonna build this garment that I'm gonna live in for the next several hours, or roll around in, or move and maneuver in. So, you know, we tend to put a lot of gussets, which is like a diamond shaped insert, so that you can go like that, or go like that, in a garment that would otherwise be closely fitted to your body. They expand, and they're done on a bias frame, so you get that stretch, and then it actually like comes back together. Or in some cases, like for example, with my I have armor for Saber Altar. I put paneling that you don't see out of swimwear, so that if I take armor pieces off, the swimwear starts to wick away the water from my, or like the sweat basically, the grossness from my body, so that you cool down faster. The fabric also gets cold as it dries. So like being a cosplayer is how I came up with that, not from being a fabric designer, fashion designer, or a seamstress. Like that was something that I came up with because I cosplayed. Yeah, well, having the background in fashion gives you the functionality of the textile, but the application of it, I would never come up with if I hadn't been a cosplayer. They do go hand in hand. And again, there's a lot of places that you can go to learn, and a lot of the times, you know, there's studios or like community theaters or schools that are looking for people to help them. And the more you do, like they say 10,000 hours makes you a master at something, and you have to put that time in, and it should be sequential. You know, doing 10,000 hours of work over, you know, 25 years, you might not be doing it back to back to back to back. So challenging yourself and putting in, you know, committing that time is some of the best advice I can give. Other questions? Let me see. Yes?
Is there like a big difference between something that's going to be worthless, like the actual piece, and one that's going to be seen on TV or on a film?
Yes. When we do something that's going to be seen that's going to be filmed, we tend to do a lot more texture. The reason for that is because everything is done in 1080p now. It's done in high definition. So you want to make sure that there's a catalog of like things that you shouldn't do on high definition film. So like different fabrics and textiles, you can look up high definition textile do's and don'ts, and you can find stuff, because there's certain things that just don't read well on film. And that's something that the Motion Picture Association and Television Association, they put a lot of those up there for costumers and costume guilds. Also talking to local costume guilds helps if you can't find a list. But yeah, a lot, like depending on what it is that we're going to be doing, we will do depth lines, or we'll paint, or we'll add more. Do you by any chance follow the World Cosplay Summit? Okay. There was a team that had white boots for a Chun-Li costume, and they didn't want it to just be white boots. So they went through and they shaded all of the boots, not just because it was going to be seen from stage, but because they knew that it was going to be filmed. And that's something where, while I wouldn't necessarily do it for someone who's going to be seen like one-on-one at a convention, or for a client who just wants to have something to run around in, I would do that if it was going to be filmed. Like we did that with Hela, we did that with Yondu, we did that with Mantis, and with Valkyrie as well, where we tend to give it more wear, I guess is the best way to do it. Our Rose Tico, for example, she's weathered. She's not in a costume, because Rose Tico looks like she rolled around under a ship for a long time. So, and we try to think like, where would the wear be? So we have a lot on the knees, we have a lot on the butt, we have a lot on the sides here, and some here, because we imagine that like, well, that's where it tends to show in like her costume anyway, but that's where we assume it would be. And then she's got, you know, missing areas, because like her belt would be on, so it's not as dirty under the belt. But then we also like, spray garbage on our hands, we're like, oh, you know. There's a lot of different textiles or like textile paints that you can use for that kind of stuff. Spraying, misting, and again, like trial and error is the best way to do that kind of work, to weathering with that. Bye! Thanks for coming. Hope it helped a little bit. Bye. Your costume's really pretty. Sorry, I'm not good at talking to humans that are being let out of a cage. Any other questions regarding? Did you have a question? You didn't put your hand up.
No, I'm rubbing my
Sorry. Yeah. It's not something that I ever thought I would be able to say about myself. Like, if you would have told me when I was 13, you're gonna build some costumes for Marvel Entertainment, I would have laughed and said, I don't even know. It's incredibly fulfilling. I'm really grateful to my partner, to Alicia, for taking on this company with me and for putting faith in me to build the costumes that we did for the Zelda piece that we put together, because that was sort of the start of it. And I do very strongly feel like if you are passionate about something and are willing to put the time and make the effort, it doesn't just fall in your lap. You have to put yourself out there and ask for the work and put in the time, and not just with asking people to trust you. You have to put the work into being good enough that you can have these people trust you. We're incredibly lucky in that Judith Stevens from Marvel knows my work and knows the quality of what I'm able to produce, and then my partner doubled down on that because she's a phenomenal seamstress herself. So, we were very, very lucky in that sort of self-made way, where we could say, like, yeah, we can do this. Like, we can build these costumes in 2.5 weeks. Like, please trust us with this. We'll do the best that we can. And they were happy enough with the result that they let us do a couple more pieces for them. But again, it is like, we're always learning. We learn from she and I learn from each other, as well as from other places. Like, I went to a class on tambour beating last year, where basically it's like a specialized couture style beadwork class where you use a special rig and you use a special brace and you tighten out silk across a board, and then you use this very intricate technique to bead or sequin or embellish items. And I learned from a tailorist who's been doing it for 20 years now, who just travels the world teaching people how to do this. She's won multiple awards. So finding unique ways or looking into things. Alicia worked a lot with a quilter, like a master quilter, who taught her a tremendous amount of binding techniques, and we apply that to a lot of our work. He does this infinity binding, which is basically taking bias tape, wrapping it around something, and then having it be a seamless connection, so you never see so you don't really notice where the bias tape ends. A lot of the times people just blunt off, like I used to just blunt off the edge and be like, okay, and then this one goes over this one, and then I folded it under so it's not going to fray, and then we're done. But in this case, the bias edges connect to each other in a way where it just smoothly transitions. I didn't even know infinity binding was a thing until I met her, and I've been sewing for 20 years, So, just looking for more, looking to learn more. You never stop, and again, like, challenging yourself also helps. That's what I like your one. Yeah.
How long did it take you to build your current clientele? And how long
didn't teach me to get to the point where you're gonna.
I feel like it's a little different for me because most of the people who we started out as our base clients are people that I have known on and off because of the work that I've done in the anime, and I did have those connections, but I hadn't built for them before. So, you know, we've worn costumes, like I've built costumes and worn them for Aniplex, for example, or for Funimation or for Viz. But I've not actually been hired by those companies to build. And it wasn't until I was like, hey, I have this business. If you have any work that you need or any items that you want specially made, I have worked with you for 7 years now and you've seen the work that I can do. Please consider us. You know, it's not like hire me, it's like please consider us for this project. We would love to work with you. Or I would really be happy to like help, you know, realize something for you guys. And that tends to be, that's how we, you know, get interviews for other clients, or we, you know, we can say like, hey, we've had this work at this other place, or I know this person from this